thus that the number of prime numbers scales as x divided by log of x. Okay. The theorem that exactly tells us the leading term of the behavior is proven by the number of steps written as part of log of x. And we know now that the leading term is log integral of x. Log integral of x, indeed, the first term is x over log of x. So it has three directions. Okay. So that we know from mathematics. It's a theorem. It's a theorem. What we don't know is the following, is that how much the actual number of primes differ from the log integral. Okay. What are the fluctuations of the actual number of prime numbers versus the log integral? It's a beautiful data by Riemann. I think it was on the 11th page. And he wrote the statement that these should be less than square root of x, not x. This is only true if the Riemann conjecture is correct. The Riemann conjecture says that the Riemann theta function, so the sum of the naturals to the s power, the function of x, has zeros on the right hand side of x plane of x, only in the vertical line s equal 1/2. So in that region, only if scale of x is 1/2 there is zeros. The distribution of these zeros is one of the identical features of mathematics. So what Riemann proved is that this 1/2 is the square root of x, the 1/2 here. So he made this connection between the sums of one of the ns with the departure of the real prime numbers versus log integral of x. Well, it has been a big endeavor to know whether this is true, because this is again related to proving or not proving what is to do with the Riemann conjecture. And what happens is very peculiar. Littlewood, Littlewood and Hardy, the mathematicians of Cambridge, are very central for the this problem. And Littlewood proved that actually pi of x versus v of x should change sign infinitely many times. Okay. But after 2500, after x equal to 500, up to now, which that we have computed the best number standard 24, has been no change of sign. But there is a theorem that says the reason. Finding this number was one of the, they are called now squeeze numbers. And the theorem that the mathematicians have now is that there should be a first change of sign before e to the 700. Well, okay. PhD thesis of a guy who got PhD, I think he took more than 10 years to make this computation. He couldn't get the doctor degree because he wouldn't have completed the computation. But finally he completed it. Well, he did the 20s understood that. He made the largest computation ever of his time. So now we can compare and see if indeed that this is the naive of x of log x. The division is 10 to the 20 versus LI is 10 to the 9, so it's correct. It's within the square root of x. There is no violation of the Riemann conjecture. So we are okay. But our computers can only handle up to 24, and if you want, it is to 8 digits. So it turns out that all our knowledge of the prime number counting goes to manipulating 80 bits. And this is the limit of the classical physics. So here you see why it makes sense to think that quantum computation, because if you can handle 80 qubits, we are there. We are there. So we don't need 100,000 qubits. We don't need 100. Now, this is again to refer to what I was saying. So now we understand the problem. We can mainly do things that are unachievable in classical computers about number theory. And this is the state for 3. So that you understand that this is a physical thing. And can be constructed, classical properties of finiteness and so on. And the answer is yes to essentially everything. First, if you compute entanglement of that state, if you compute entanglement, compute the reduced density matrix and you analyze all the elements, you can immediately see that the reduced density matrix of one of the qubits contains, it's defined by all these functions of twin primes, those are Euler series of subprimes. Because now, you reconstruct the reduced density matrix, and every element in the reduced density matrix is a function. So experiments to meet the function. So this is just to see that it goes in the right direction. Even how complicated it is, well, let me think of that as a ground state of a system. Is it very entangled or not? So I compute the reduced density matrix of half of the system, and I compute the von Neumann entropy, and I see how it scales with 10. And it scales as a value. So it's a state which is more entangled than any ground state of any field theory. Field theories have local interactions, and they produce entanglement that follows the area law, like the black hole, the area law entanglement. All field theories do that. All the ground states of every field theory has area law entanglement. But that's more entangled than any field theories. Here you have the operation. What we call finitely correlated states, or states that have a mass cap. Entanglement is bounded by the mass cap. States which are critical in one dimension, so conformal field theories in one dimension, obey the lock law. With the central charge in front of them. So conformal field theory enters into the von Neumann entropy. All the area laws in these dimensions are obeyed by all the theories with local interaction and translational invariance. The prime state has a volume, and all the random states can be proven. But if you throw a stone in the sea of a cubic space, that state, random state, has a volume law. It has an entanglement that goes with 10 to the size of the number of particles. Okay. So this is saying that indeed prime states could never be simulated efficiently on a classical computer. So what I'm saying, even if we're on quantum, we don't know it does it. And can it be invented? Can it be constructed? Okay, so let me do it in 2 phases. First is, let me assume that there is a thing called primality test. And if that state passes the primality test, it changes the sign here. Not changes from 0 to 1. This is the gate, the control gate. It is controlled through the test. So if x is prime, which is all the prime numbers, it doesn't do anything. If it is done with it, it changes to 1. Now we will see how to do that. But if that is possible, then you measure the ancilla, and with a given probability, you collapse onto the prime state. So this is a very typical technique in quantum mechanics. You simply generate, you pass the test, you play with an ancilla, you measure the ancilla, depending on how it projects, you have to achieve something. So again, you simply pass the test. Your state is set down with the probability which is 1 over n log 2. You project here. With the complementary probability you project here. And in that way you simply generate. Now, because n is the number of digits, this probability is the coefficient. It's not exponential, it's just a polynomial express. The coefficient, if the words are polynomial, exponential it is not. And again, maybe you have heard about the progress algorithm, which is a way to generate the states in a controlled manner. It's one of the first algorithms in quantum information. Let me say that if I'm not showing it, but the probability of that to work, it's 1 on the number of again, it's remarkable the progress of people doing these things, because nowadays they manage to do all these things without even counting one by one. It's very complicated. So math, the problem, is a completely different problem. Yet, the Gödel algorithm is much more powerful than the classical algorithms. So, as I said, the quantum computing is a quantum technology than the classical. This is my conclusion. The first part was about quantum simulation of properties in terms of experimental devices, what is needed in the device. And the second is whether we can bring series of methods into one single register and do computations and measurements in that register so that we learn something about algorithms. Thank you. So far away. So what do you say? I mean, you don't know. You are the yes or computer success. But I give you an example that would be exactly but then we need more ideas like this. We need more things that the mind will do well. Everybody has factors on very few. What is the subject again? Well, yeah, as factor is 39 or something like that. So 5 digits factorization, which is very efficiency. So the best thing in the world are now used. It's a senior round from the group of flat. The good thing is that in the last years, we are taking the module, but that's really efficient. So that's object-oriented experiments. So rather than going for one experiment, they went for the module of quantum. So now they can go much bigger for the calculator. Another example is used for the subhidden subgroup problem. It's used for synchronization, remote synchronization. It is used for factorization. It is used for phase estimation. So the secret of the exponential speed of secret is because of the theoretical physics is exponential heavy and quantum mechanics is very low. So it's good. I would say that basically in 5 years we won't be able to do big things, but it is no longer just a notion part. So we will have things. Others are quantum computers. Others are quantum computers. So there are things about I want to see an atom. To see a state. State is good enough. With some lasers and all. Well, this is one. Okay, so this is the real picture of a real thing. So this is flat. So each of these atoms is an ion. It's an ion, and the brain is the internal states and the motion states. Okay, so I can be excited or not excited, and I can move or not. The motion is controlled by the charge, and it is controlled by the potential at the equator. So this gets like a harmonic oscillator, and there are several states. So this is not the ground state, it's the discrete mode. So it's one of these exciting states. What they do is that they put them in ground state, they shine them. somebody wants to see, we have a documentary on the last cannabis alive. You got the point. It's half an hour, it's 29 minutes, 40 seconds. I'm sorry because, no, this doesn't comes out all the time, but the point is that we are showing that in festivals, and it is completely different habit on the public. Not that we want to make money, but if we go to the festivals, you have to keep it. So that's as I was explaining already before, the top we deal with cancer physics. One is flavor physics in the head of the world, that also I was telling you about. The other one will be physics. So what the newcomers means was this first part of the introduction. Now I will run a second introduction which has more to do with electrolysis integration, that will be the motivation for these studies. Then I will discuss some of the technical aspects. What happens when you try to deal with the renormalization of these for terminal operators that appear in flavor physics and will appear in electrolysis integrating, and how you tackle renormalization from a non-prototypic processes. And then I will show some results that have implications for these different fields of fundamental physics. One will be the appearance of a large enhancement into renormalization of running, enhancement of different expression, of the other fundamental corrections to the electronic mixing. The other one will be the role of anomalous dimensions of processing operators in some specific strong-electrolysis integration model, which is minimal. So you missed the flavor physics part, but most people were here by the time I discussed this, so I can skip it. Let me now come to Higgs physics. So now we know that there is Higgs, and it's been with us for more than 2 years now, but of course, it often happens once you get something new and exciting, more trouble starts to rise, or if you prefer more interesting stuff, what we are after now is to try and understand what kind of beast this Higgs-like particle is. So this is a summary of the current status of the measurement of various Higgs couplings in Atlas, where the bottom line is things look pretty much standard model, but precision is still relatively poor. And the big question that I will be asking here is whether the standard model with coupling elementary scale description of this kind of physics is really what we are seeing, or there is room for something different. Okay. So let me start with these statements. I will keep in mind that there are two different kinds of models for electrolysis integration, which I usually dub weakly coupled and strongly coupled. Weakly coupled models basically means that you introduce elementary scale fields as the standard model, and you couple these fields to turn into couple couplings, and then you introduce a potential so that you use electrolysis integrating and so on, and you can do that basically without supersymmetry, which tends to lead you to the hierarchy problem. Or with supersymmetry, which may have looked natural at some point, in spite of the huge amount of soft-brain parameters you have, but nowadays it starts to be questionable whether supersymmetric models are natural after all, because the soft-brain parameters are subject to quite some tension if you don't want to have fighting in models. The other class of models would be ones where electrolysis integrating is triggered by some strong coupling dynamics at high energies. The electrolysis integrating degrees of freedom are actually Lambda-Dalton bosons coming from that strong dynamics. The one which I want to make here is that whatever you do along these lines will necessarily relate electrolysis integrating and flavor. So two problems that look separate in these kind of models come together in this world. The first one of the question here is where does the Higgs come from? Many of these models do not necessarily have a transparent manifest candidate for a Higgs boson, and you have to work that out a little bit. Let me discuss some German. We were discussing this before lunch actually. In electrolysis integrating, I often find there is some terminological confusion, so I will attempt to clear that with a couple of slides. First term is technicolor. Okay, so technicolor basically means the following. Think of QCD. The standard model we have QCD. QCD allow raise the acid to the spontaneous because the condensate is formed. Your with bosons couple effectively to ions, which are the constant bosons of the breaking, and that induces a mass for the W boson, which is proportional to the final decay constant, which happens to be about 30 MeV, which is way too low to explain electrolysis technology. But it tells you that the qualitative features of dynamical electrolysis integrating are already there in the standard. Technicolor is basically the idea that if you have some strongly coupled interaction at high energies, maybe QCD-like, then you can play the same game and have electrolysis integrating. As far as if you have something similar to QCD, the corresponding pion decay constant, or the decay constant of the technopions that will form in the center is that will give you the correct W mass. So what you have introduced here is a coupling between with bosons and these high energy quarks, okay, whatever they are, technical. So this is what is normally called technical. Now, then there is also extended technical. What is extended technical? That's it. Once you have this coupling, you actually introduce masses and mixes for standard model furniture. Because you can start having this kind of diagrams. You can have that in a minimal model or not, but it is very natural to introduce that. So the moment you have this new high energy interaction, you will start forming condensates, you will start getting contributions, mass-like contributions to standard model furniture propagation, and that will induce mass and mixes, that will induce flavor. Now, the point, and I will discuss this more in detail, is that it is quite hard to reproduce the kind of hierarchy between masses and mixes that you observe in the standard model with just basic function couples. This is very easy when it comes to electrolysis integrating, but when you try to play a flavor game, you have to complicate the structure of this high energy sector considerably by introducing new kind of couplings, new interactions, and so on and so forth. But the essence is the same. Once you have strong coupling at high energies, you will have the flavor game incorporated. Finally, there is commodity Higgs. Commodity Higgs is usually spoken of as a way to concentrating on the physics of the Higgs boson. Okay, so one is not focusing on electrolysis integration, one is not focusing on flavor. What you're focusing on is the possibility that the Higgs boson is not an elementary object, but it is something and it is something similar to a Gaussian function. Okay. Of course, my point here is that we're writing a phenomenological context. Technicolor, extended Technicolor, and composite Higgs are commonly thought of as different things. So one could listen to talks about composite Higgs models where they are saying simultaneously that Technicolor and extended Technicolor are completely out of the game. I just want to point out that these three Jargon terms are all coming from the same basic stem. You have some strong interaction at high energies that will break electromagnetically, that will induce flavor, that will certainly generate composite scalar states that may or may not have the properties of this boson. And these are all aspects of the same game, which I will consider in generalities here. Okay. And this is just an illustration of what is the kind of room these models have available with current data. This comes from an analysis by Jonathan Podolsky and other people, where they were considering the understandable model scenarios in the Higgs sector using pretty generic equipment lenders and parameterizing the understandable model text in terms of some modified couplings with respect to the standard model mass. So this here would be 1 in the standard model. Whenever you see deviations from 1, that means that you have some new physics that is changing the value of these effective couplings. And then run some analysis which will show you in some particular slice of parameter space where, for instance, you have the same fermion couplings and you leave the value and the value of this vector coupling here free. They see that around 1, which is the standard model value, different constraints coming together leave quite significant freedom. So far, you can deviate by as much or as maybe 20 or 30% in some directions from the standard model. This is physics which is not very well measured yet. So this is basically telling you that there is quite some room for this kind of composite model, in spite of the fact that measurements so far go more along the lines of single standard model. Good. So let me come back to some details of how Technicolor and extended Technicolor terminology is from now on. Where this is a cartoon of the mechanism for electron symmetry breaking, which is postulated in the Technicolor paradigm, where you have the standard model electronic group that is broken by a quantum effect, both by QCD in some small contribution to W and C masses via pions, and some high-energy Technicolor sector where Technic pions provide the bulk of the mass. The reason this is good enough for generating vector boson masses is that asymptotic freedom in whatever Technicolor theory you have here will generate a gap between the ultraviolet and the infrared that generates the state separation that is in the standard model. This has a few problems, however. One classical problem is that this kind of dynamics tends to change the oblique parameters in electronic corrections in a way that generates tension with electronic precision measurements. This is something which is not very well known. This is not automatic physics, so whatever is known here typically comes from large approximations and so on. These corrections to big parameters are not well computed, but still it is something people have in mind. I will skip this problem to not be relevant for what follows. What is really bad about Technicolor is that there is a serious problem when it comes to flavors. Here you immediately generate effective flavor changing neutral currents, which are not suppressed, and that induces a huge tension with standard model properties. The underlying problem actually is that it is very hard with this kind of Technicolor dynamics to generate the hierarchies you observe in the standard model. As I was saying before, that's the reason we introduce extended Technicolor. This is again a cartoon this time by Michael Levio, and extended Technicolor is alleviating, hopefully, the flavor problem posed by Technicolor by complicating the interactions in the strong couple sector. And my point here, my main point, is that no matter what you do in this extended sector, you are bound to get into trouble when you have theories that are QCD-like. This is already decided here. Anything that is QCD-like has a well-defined scale. This is the lambda Technicolor here. Any quantity in this strongly coupled sector will be given by some power of this scale times order 1 numbers. Every physical quantity will be generated by this well-defined scale, and then you will have trouble generating higher. So it is hard to start with 1 number and generate widely different numbers. And that manifests itself both in the case of masses, where you use standard model masses via some extended Technicolor condensate, or in the case of fermion couplings, where you collapse one of these higher interactions and get some effective vertices which may particularly not suppress flavor changing neutral currents. And what this boils down to is the fact that in order to build a realistic extended Technicolor sector, you end up introducing relative interactions as standard model flavor parameters, which is not what you want to do. You want something that is more fundamental than the standard model, so you don't want to replicate the large amount of degrees of freedom that's the standard model. And the underlying reason for this is that QCD-like theories do not generate enough of a gap between the infrared and the ultraviolet. Now, how can you solve for that? You can solve that by changing the nature of the structure. This is a summary of what I was saying. This is a running coupling that works as in QCD. You have some logarithmic running that increases the coupling as you go to smaller scales, and there is some characteristic scale lambda, and you run into trouble in the flavor sector. You don't know very well what the Higgs is. And the way you can solve orally flavor problems is to change your paradigm. Instead of dealing with the theory that is QCD-like, where you have this logarithmic running and one well-defined scale, you may consider a theory which has an infrared fixed point, an untrivial infrared fixed point. That means that the coupling will run from the trivial infrared fixed point to some fixed value in the infrared at very low energy scales. Physics around this point will be conformal, there will be scaling variance. This theory will still have a characteristic scale as seen from the ultraviolet, which is the asymptotic freedom scale. It is the scale at which this theory will decouple. And in order to do proper model building, of course, you don't want to have this exactly conformal infrared physics. It has to be destroyed at some point by something that makes the coupling rise and binds this interaction. But one point I wanted to make is that you don't need to play fancy games in the high energy sector to this standard model physics, for instance, will do that for you. Once you switch on standard model interactions, you will naturally have some infrared scale which spoils you conformality. And the game here will be that if these scales are separated well enough, then you have some good potential to generate flavor hierarchies. Why? Because once you get this conformal sector, whenever you take some quantity, for instance, an extended Technicolor condensate that generates masses, and you run it between the ultraviolet and the infrared scales, instead of this kind of logarithmic enhancement, you will get the power law behavior controlled by the anomalous dimension of the operator during in this case, the anomalous dimension of the condensate. So since this is much line, you get a much wider separation of scales than we could potentially generate here. Now, to conclude this introduction, let me explain to you why I will focus on 4 fermion operators living in some of these strongly coupled high-energy sectors. Here is the Higgs sector of the standard model. This is the kind of Lagrangian you would write in coupling models with up and down cross coupled via Higgs field and some Iguala couplings here. In these models, the Higgs field is an elementary scalar. It has engineered dimension 1, so this has engineered dimension 2, and since you have weakly coupled physics, you expect anomalous dimensions to be small, so the actual dimension of this thing would be slightly different from now, in a strongly coupled electrosymmetry, this is the kind of terms you get in the Iguala Lagrangian. These are effective interactions between standard model fields and technical or sector fields suppressed by the square of this scale, and these are your Iguala couplings here. Now, the role of the Higgs field, so the Higgs notation in the same line, will be played by this thing, which is called psi here and q here. This is a dimension 3 operator. And this thing which before had dimension 2, now we have dimension 6. And the fields involved are strongly interacting, so there is no reason for you to believe that the most dimensions are generically small. When you compute the anomalous dimension contribution, this thing may deviate from 6 significantly. This is one example where this thing may come into play using a very spectacular physics event. So this is the optics coupling as discussed in this work here, and what we are doing here is to work out explicitly using some conformative theory technology. What are the corrections to a standard model like Iguala coupling coming from the conformal set? Okay, so this would be the leading interaction at low energies. This is your standard Iguala coupling, and this is a leading correction in some expansion in terms of the properties of the high energy set. And you get this composite operator here, which is a correction. You can work it out using some techniques. So this is the kind of correction to the Iguala coupling you will get. And this is controlled by this power of the ultraviolet scale, where this is the scale in the dimension of h of the scalar composite fields that plays the role of your Higgs boson. So, for instance, if this scale dimension gets into some window, which is far from the perturbative regime but may be possible in a strongly coupled model, then this thing here becomes a relevant deformation of the conformative theory, and you get a wildly different infrared physics. You get strongly coupled Higgs in the low energy regime, and you will get sizable deviations from what the weakly coupled standard model was. Okay. Something very similar, and this I think is the last slide of this first part, happens if you start considering flavor correction, which for instance is a fermion correction. The fermion part of the equation is again controlled by some power of the new physics QB scale, where again the anomalous dimension of this scalar effective field appears, and whether or not you get the correct flavor change neutral carbon suppression depends enormously on what is the value of the relevant scaling dimension. So the conclusion of all this is that in order to do proper model building for strong system making, the anomalous dimensions of these 4 fermion operators have an important role and one has to determine. Okay, that brings me to the second part, which will be shorter hopefully, which is how you can determine anomalous dimensions of these 4 fermion operators that will contribute either to flavor physics in the standard model or to physics of strongly coupled electrosymmetry reading. So, imagine you take a generic 4 fermion operator. This 4 fermion operator is in general a product of 2 Fourier linears, which are traced over spin, flavor, and color, that is indicated by this parenthesis. And here there is an internal spin and flavor color structure. Okay, this comes from the fact that these effective operators will always come from an operator for function where you have some difference and differences here that we will have statically have here. Now, it is a general theorem of normalization that whenever you have a composite operator, it limits with all other operators with the same transformation properties under all symmetries. So what happens in general is that even some operator you're interested in, you will have to find all the operators that have the same transformation properties under all symmetries. And the normalized operators will be linear combinations of the operators that can therefore mix maybe complicated ways under the normalized dimension. And I will always work in massive independent schemes with this advantage that the one doesn't have to bother about some technical relations involved when you have a mixing with lower dimensional operators. What I will be dealing with is operators that are not affected by mixing of lower dimensional operators, and it was shown already several years ago that a completely general way to determine the anomalous dimensions is to consider operators that have formally 4 distinct flavors and live independently. So this is the kind of operator where you have flavors 1, 2, 3, 4 here. These are spin color traces, and the only thing you have here is some specific spin structure for the array. And you can work out of there is an out of all the possible operators with spin and color structures here. You end up implicitly, and I will come back to this later because in model 2 that we're is different, you end up with only 10 possible operators. These are these 5 operators here, which of which comes in plus and minus version. And plus and minus means that it takes the same operator with the same spin structure. You exchange flavors 2 and 4, you either subtract or add it to this operator here. So these 10 operators are all the possible dimensions 6 operators which are Lorentz invariant and which are independent dependent corresponding to these other variable identities in this. And each of them can be split into a parity even part and a parity odd part. So this way was this. Now, I will come back to that later because in the empirical is different and I will discuss that in detail. So let me postpone this. Basically, what happens is that if you introduce color here, you can use color identities. Yes. Okay. And then use field identities between spin matrices to rewrite operators which have some non-trivial color structure in terms of operators that have trivial color structure. Yes. And then you gives you these flavor exchanges here. And we'll discuss this anatomy in detail for a fermions because then the distance is linear. In all cases, you can get rid of color structure. They can only what kind of spin structure that generates. Now, how do these guys renormalize? Okay, these operators here in principle can mix some of them. And one has to identify what are the transformation properties under relevant symmetries, Carroll symmetry, discrete symmetries, and so on and so forth. And find the mixing structure. So the result that was found 15 years ago is that the renormalization pattern has this one. Okay, first of all, plus and minus operators don't mix. They don't talk to each other. You can consider them separately. Then, renormalized operators will in general reveal by multiplying a vector of the 5 operators times specified by matrix. And this is a structure designed by matrix. Hence, there is this here, which is what diagonal operator 1 is a couple of months la difficile da tutti. Then in fact, because you complicate the mixing structure considered. These things, however, do not depend on the same dependency scheme here. However, even if Taylor symmetry is broken, in the parity of sector, I told you can always split these things into parity and the parity of house. In the parity of sector, the deltas are always zero. Now, if you want to think about the anomalous dimension, the anomalous dimension is the same for the parity of part of the operator. So then it is advantageous to use parity of operators to work out anomalous dimensions because then you don't have to deal with these extra mixing even if you break Taylor symmetry. So that's good. What happens with the joint fermions, however? In the joint fermions, you have to work out again what these people did 50 years ago. And what happens is the following. Now, I learned explicitly that operators you will have operators with no color structure, and you will have operators with color structure where you have an insertion of some color current here, whatever the color is. Implicitly, these are fundamental generators. Now, I have adjoint generators. And I will concentrate on the case of SU2, simply because the color identity is simple. So how does this work? In the case of adjoint fermions, here you are summing over color, otherwise it's in the DH invariant. And then you have this color identity here. You plug this in, you get some complicated linear combination of stuff, and then you can use infinite identities to divide it in terms of linear combinations of operators which are contracted exactly this way.